Hi, my name is Wase. I'm a beginner and amateur landscape photographer, and today I actually wanted to talk a little bit about what got me into photography and what I think is one of the most crucial questions to ask yourself as a landscape photographer. Basically, why landscape photography? So this is a question that I had thought about before, but I had framed it a little bit differently. This is before I actually started photography or in general, which was, what is the point of landscape photography? So coming from an immigrant background, working in software engineering, my whole thought process on photography or any other form of creative work in general was, why would I do something that doesn't really give me any materialistic or value that I can actually physically see, such as money or recognition or status, etc. And for me, that was akin to basically wasting my time if I wasn't able to get any monetary value out of it. So to me, what that meant was putting in the hard work so that you could actually get something in return, something that you could use to build a better life for you or your family, etc. And that always meant something physical, something with monetary value. Good grades in school are signals for a good job, which might give you good money. Exercising and working out are great for physical fitness, and they also have a signaling effect on potential future partners. But photography, or even the thought of creating something that you don't have any intention to sell, why even bother when there's other things that seem a lot more productive and provide value, and I could be spending my time on those instead. Sure, photography seems like a good byproduct of things like spending time with family or going on a hike or traveling, but by itself, it was not something that I quite related to. So even portrait photography I kind of understood because you could at least make some money out of it, shooting engagement photos, wedding pictures, etc. But whoever really buys those overly priced photos in art galleries or art fairs, why would I ever buy those things when I could just purchase something that was mass-produced maybe, yes, but with a much less cost than those photos and still have the aesthetic that I wanted for my home. Suffice to say, now that I've looked under the hood, I'm much more appreciative and understanding of the cost and effort that goes into photography and creating those photos. But when it actually came down to it, I bought this camera that I have now mostly to start YouTube because that's what I thought of as a productive outlet, since it would provide value to other people. But that actually got sidelined because now that I had a camera, I'd already paid the fixed cost of purchasing something that I could actually explore. And that's what I started to do. I took my camera with me on outings, but I always remembered coming back and feeling frustrated with the pictures and not being sure whether they actually looked good. So I hope by now you realize that I didn't really answer the question of why landscape photography, because I never really asked myself that question ever before. Even now at this stage, we're talking about when I was just exploring the camera. It was interesting because it was a new challenge for me to figure out the technical aspects of the camera and be able to take photos with not just my point and click phone camera, but something a little bit more complicated. And that kind of evolved as well along the way. So now I wasn't taking the camera as I went on hikes, but I would actively go on hikes for photography, for my camera. I would wake up earlier than I've ever done before just because I wanted to get the right conditions and I wanted to explore at that time. So 2-mile hikes before that would take me under an hour were now taking me at least 2 hours just because of landscape photography. But now it was getting to a point where I was enjoying landscape photography. And then it hit me. This was actually the first time that I was doing something without any hope of seeing a monetary or physical value, but simply for the sake of enjoying it. Finding joy in something without an end goal was a little bit too frighteningly simple. Over time, I realized that the joy doesn't actually come from taking the photos and showing it to other people, watching the like counter go up, or the affirmative comments come rolling in. If that was the case, with my paltry following, especially when compared against some of the more famous landscape photographers, would have made me quit landscape photography a long time ago. No, so the joy came from the process involved in taking those photos. The process of looking at a scene out there and trying to compress it down into the little screen of the camera to be able to compose it in a certain way so that when you take it home and when you finish the product by editing it, that you could look at it and still appreciate how much effort and how much beauty there was at that scene where you first experienced those emotions. So it's even strange to me, and I laugh about it, that the thousands of photos on my external hard drive that haven't seen the light of day, that beyond the editing phase, they didn't really go anywhere. But they serve as a memoriam of the emotion and joy I felt in that process, during which I was doing something that I found meaning in. Not really worried about any other external factors or how many people will get to see that photo, but doing it simply for myself, simply because I enjoyed the process of it. That is why I do landscape photography.